Okay, Council, we're live on Facebook or on YouTube, and Jerry's in.
Okay, colleagues, thank you very much. We will begin our special council meeting of November the 30th. We're dealing with the Building and Planning Department dashboard, and we're also dealing with two additional items for which there is a time constraint: the COVID Resiliency Grant and the RFP for the stormwater assessment. Let us begin. Observe a moment of silence so the council staff and members of the public can quietly reflect on our duty to the community we are trying to serve. Thank you, colleagues. Members of the public, staff, presenters, and members of council, please be advised that meetings are broadcast and recorded and made available on the internet. Is there any declaration of pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof? None has been noted. We have no minutes for this special meeting. We have no deputations. Madam Clerk, are there any questions registered?
No questions.
Okay, we'll move on to the municipal officers and staff reports. And the first one is the dashboard for the building and planning review. And I'll ask Robert or Janice if they wanted to add anything before I turn it over to council members.
Oh, all right. Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. So essentially, we just take this opportunity to provide council with an update on the list of items that were noted in the dashboard, and a few things did move forward. A number of others, of course, are slated to move forward in the coming months and quarters. Be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Rob. I'll start with Sherry. I'm gonna give every councillor an opportunity to say a few words on this. So, Sherry.
Thank you. Through you. I'm just wondering what the status is with the software. About where are we with that now?
We've got a demo, a full demo product slated for Wednesday. Again, it's still they're still developing a few aspects of it, but they are in a position now to provide a full demo of its functionality. So that's happening on Wednesday.
All right, and is that for the planning or is it for everything?
Right, that was I guess more plan. Related to the building that's moving forward, we'll be doing an internal soft launch with it. Of course, we've purchased it and come to terms with the supplier on that completely. The idea being that we'll exercise the software in the month of December and actually launch it to the public for January.
Rob,
Okay.
you broke up in the beginning. So is this for both the building and planning, or both the building and the planning, or is it just the building part we're talking about?
Yeah, so for the building part, we have come to terms with the supplier, and we are in the process now just obviously making it incorporating those aspects that are specific to us. Most of it is ready to go out of the box, but there's a few things in terms of GIS and a few other things that are just being updated now. Our goal is to actually have a soft launch internally for it in December and to fully launch in January. As it relates to the planning, that was my initial response, which is where we have a demo related to its functionality on Wednesday.
Okay, Sherry.
Thank you. I just wanted to mention, I've talked to a couple of business people in Selwyn on the weekend, and they were telling me that they have contractors come in quite often, and that there are a lot of people that are turning their 3-season properties into full winterized properties because they intend to be up here for a while. So you might be getting some applications for those kinds of things, Rob.
Well, thank you, Terry. Yeah, we've heard that as well, that there are a lot of furnaces being sold in the general area. Yeah.
I would think so. Anything else, Sherry? No? Okay, Jerry?
Thank you. Sorry about the beginning there. I'm having some issues here today. With regards to number 4, department structure, we figured out whether we need 1 position or 2 positions.
Janice?
Yeah, so we're working our way through that, and there'll be a report for council to consider on December 10th.
December 8th, did you say?
10th.
10th. Oh,
That's all for me.
yeah, good. Thank you. Okay, Anita.
My question was just going to be about that, the development approvals technician. Is this going to be a full-time position or part-time position, or you haven't really fleshed that out yet?
That will be a full-time 35-hour position. Yeah.
And what exactly will be their responsibilities?
Well, our initial thought, our thought at this point is that they'll come in with a planning background, and their responsibilities will be largely related to planning, supporting the planning function. They will also, as a function of their duties, have some coordination with the building department as well. But yeah, so again, that will flesh out and give a bit more detail to council on the 10th as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Anita. Donna?
Yes, thank you. This is about the customer service training. I was wondering if you've established a date for that, and when, and if you, not if, when you do, if you haven't done it already. I would like to know, because I'd like to attend if I could.
Okay, Janice, you'll make sure that can occur?
Yeah, so we do not have a confirmed date as of yet. We will have to work with Omni to get a confirmed date, and of course, they will have to confirm the trainer. If council members feel that they would like to attend the training, we can reserve a seat for you.
So if I'm free, I would like to attend.
Excellent. Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Not seeing any. I have a comment. There are, you're making a lot of progress, and you've reported out on some of it. There's many of the things that you're still working through that you'll be reporting on later on. Just a general question. Have you run into any roadblocks, not on things that you do already, but stuff that's due later, and that it's turning out to be more challenging than you perhaps had anticipated, or something's happened that's going to cause any kind of issues or delays? I just ask that generally.
No, I can't report on any hiccups that we didn't anticipate or difficulties at this point.
Good to hear. Thank you. So colleagues will need a motion to receive the dashboard. I got Donna and Sherry. All those in favor? Okay, thank you. We'll move on to the Resiliency Fund proposed project application. As colleagues know, we're being provided with $100,000 to do a specific project under a number of streams. There's a couple of suggestions out there that I think, Lane, you're going to speak to.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I can speak to the report. As you noted, we are eligible for a $100,000 grant. The program is a federal provincial program, what we refer to as 100-cent dollars, so 80% from the federal government, 20% from the province. The program outlines 4 categories of eligible expenditure areas. What's outlined in our report, there's a proposed application as it relates to category 1 and 2. Those are improvements directly related to COVID-19 as it relates to 1310 Center Line, our municipal office, essentially the foyer and entrance area. Council had requested when we brought this forward, I think it was at the budget meeting, that we also look at some of the other categories. So we took some time to do that and looked at some of the other options. One of the projects that has been on the books for some time would relate to category 3, and that is specifically a trail expansion. That would take the application in a different direction, in that it wouldn't necessarily be a direct link to COVID, but it would be an opportunity to link our ratepayers to a broader active transportation network. And in that way, it would have mental health benefits. And we're seeing that come about with COVID-19 for sure, in terms of the isolation aspect. So 2 options before council, and I could respond to any questions if council had.
Okay, thank you. What I'm going to do is give everybody a chance to comment on this. Jerry, do you want to start off?
Sure, thank you. Through you. I being on the Trails Committee, and in having the rug pulled out from underneath us with that extension, or the extension to Fairburn Street, I like that idea. However, $100,000 doesn't get us home. That's the only drawback on that. So at this point, I'm thinking that front entrance would probably be the best bet for us.
Thanks, Jerry. Sherry?
Thank you. Through you. The potential trail was mentioned in our latest council communicator, and it would connect from Smith Street to Youngs Point Road. And I had several residents ask questions about it, and it would be a great addition to the Lakefield Trail. The work at the front entrance to separate people from entry and egress is also a good viable option. And because we're probably going to be living with this COVID for the foreseeable future, and we have to make sure that people are safe. The potential to raise money through grants and private donors exists for the trail. The COVID preparedness for the front entrance would only be paid through reserves and through taxes. So I lean towards the work of the building for the front entrance for the funding. And I look forward to hearing what my colleagues have to say. Thanks.
Thank you, Sherry. Donna?
Yes, thank you very much. Both projects, I agree, are good projects, but I think the best use of our 100,000 would be the safety entrance and egress at our office. Many more people would be able to see the way that we spent the money for that was given to us. And I think it is essential. It's essential for safety. It's helpful for our frontline staff and so on. And we wouldn't have people crossing through to the office and going down the stairs out the other way. So I am leaning towards the office front extension.
Thank you, Donna. Anita?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I agree with what my colleagues have said. I think probably the entrance on the building would be a better fit. I just find it kind of discouraging to think that we might be, as Sherry said, that we might be in this for quite a long time. And I think vaccines are the Canadian government is hoping to have everybody or most people vaccinated by the fall of 2021. But it's just kind of discouraging to think that we know that there's a vaccine out there, potentially coming, down the pipes at some point. I just find it kind of discouraging to think that, we're planning theoretically for something that might not start until September 30th, depending on when the funding comes through. But I just find it really discouraging. I think everybody's just getting really tired of COVID, and the thought that it might last for another year is it's depressing.
Yeah, that's for sure. Just a couple comments from my perspective. I made a little note here that may not make sense to anybody else, but I see the project, I understand the rationale for the front entrance. I made a note, though, that the project is at one and the same time too big and too small. What I mean by that is, in terms of spending $100,000 on a fix that may be required for 6 or 8 months, I understand the need. We need to protect people, and we need to take the precautions, which we've done on a temporary basis. But it's $100,000 to make an investment which may not be needed, or at least the form that it takes may not be needed down the road. Conversely, though, I think it's clear to everybody that what our physical premises will look like and what those needs will be are likely to be permanently, in some respects, changed by COVID. How we do business remotely, how many people we would need in the office at any one time, their workstations, how we design all of that is probably going to be very different even when COVID is defeated. And so my question, and this is to Elaine, is when we figure out what we want to do at the front entrance, that we got some sort of concept on how that will dovetail in or mesh with what we may have to do additionally in the future. Because what I don't want to have happen is to spend $100,000 to do something on the front entrance and then find a year or year and a half later we're having to do something totally different. And so maybe you could just speak to that, because that's the one niggling thing in the back of my mind on the office one.
Yes, you, Mr. Chair. Definitely when we make any investment in any of our public facilities, we're taking a look to the long term. Yes, this grant did come forward as a result of COVID, but I think, as noted by some of the council members, that's the reason for the funding coming forward. But the investments that we make are going to make an improvement over the long term. Many public facilities have separated entrances and exits. We just don't happen to have that right now. I do know at the last meeting, council had suggested that we also look at our layout at the front counter and ensure that however we have the entrance and exit, that we also have the appropriate setup in terms of our front counter support. And of course, we're taking into account as well that while we do have some folks come into the counter to talk to our building and planning department, the majority of the work that we're trying to do there is online or pre-consultation, which can be set up by a meeting as well. So definitely taking all those things into account, and as outlined in the report, because of our occupancy here in the building and the fact that it's a public facility, we'll be dealing with an architectural firm. It's likely that the expense to the architect won't be sufficient to go to an RFP, but we have already engaged with the consultant on this building a couple of times, and they have a good background on our building. So we'll be reaching out to them. And of course, they'll be dealing with this type of investment and the type of building alterations that we're talking about really across the country. So we'll have their expertise involved in it as well. So definitely there'll be their background, our involvement with our senior team, and we'll definitely take a look to the long term when we make the investment.
So what you're saying, Lane, is the money that we will invest today will pay us dividends way beyond the COVID response.
I'd agree with that statement. It's always our intent to look at long-term investments and take a look for the long term, how it's going to either improve service, improve customer service, or decrease expenses in the long run.
Okay, somebody want to make a motion on the office option? I think most colleagues spoke in favor of that. Anita wants to move it. Donna will second it. All those in favor? That is carried. We have a third item on the agenda, which is the report. Here, let me just. This is a report from Adam on the water and sewer location for CCTV inspection and storm sewer water flushing. So, Lane, are you going to speak to that, or is Adam on the line?
I can speak to the report. Adam and I definitely have had lots of discussions about this project. As council is aware, Mr. Chair, the CCTV work is part of our stormwater management work to provide valuable information for our asset management plan. Because of that, we had stated a completion date prior to the holiday break in December. But in discussions with our engineer, there was some concern that that timing for the project could have actually affected some bid pricing. So we wanted to make sure that we had good value for dollar. So they reached out to the bidders, and our engineers have assured us that we are getting good value for the dollar. And with the bid submitted by Braywood Services, they recommended Braywood, and the project would be completed in the spring of 2021. That feeds into our asset management plan, and we also already have a good chunk of that data from Wills, who had did some GIS work, and we provided a couple panels with this report just to give council an idea of the work that has already been completed. So the recommendation is before council, and then there would be a bylaw to enter into this agreement with Braywood Services.
Thank you, Lane. Questions, Donna?
Yes, through you to Lane. One thing that concerns me a little bit, I like the $148,000, but the highest bid was $282,000, which is more than $100,000 more. Do we have good references for this Braywood Services? And I'm sure we're comparing apples to apples.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. I talked about the idea of the completion date prior to the holiday break in December. So the high bids guaranteed a completion date by December the 15th. And so in looking at the bids and really the large spread between that's when we reached out to our engineers, and they went back out to assure that we weren't paying a premium. In some instances, I think that's a reason for that big, large difference. But based on the recommendation from our engineer, we are getting a good value for dollar, and they had good reference checks from Braywood.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sherry?
Yes, through you. So when they use the CCTV, do we ever get reports back as to what they see?
Here, Mr. Chair, yeah, definitely. That's a key component of this aspect of the project. They flush all of the underground storm sewers, and then they run cameras through them. And then based on that camera work, our engineers review them and put them in a condition rating. And then that's further reviewed by Adam and Public Works when we're taking a look at capital programs. And so they take a look at the condition of that pipe and let us know, is it in good shape? Do we need to worry about excavating, or can we just take care of surface work on the road? So yeah, definitely in terms of sanitary sewer and storm sewer, we have footage, and by the end of this project, we'll have footage on everything that we own, and we will have condition rating on everything we own, and that will feed into the asset management plan and any investments that we make in the long term.
Okay, so if there's things in there that shouldn't be, this would be appropriate time to send out messaging once it's found, if we find people aren't using things properly?
Yes, to you, Mr. Chair. In terms of the storm sewer in particular, we have an annual program that Rick and his crew coordinates in terms of catch basin cleaning and things like that. So we should, over time, notice that. As part of the annual work moving ahead, there'll be more documentation on that. So if we were to see a catch basin with the excess amount of gravel in the bottom of it, different things like that, then that would be an indication we may have a break, or that maybe things are, other debris that could be in there, that things are getting dumped into the storm sewer that shouldn't be. We don't have any red flags at this point from our storm sewer system to say that that is taking place based on the annual, but this will provide us with really definitive proof and footage of our asset.
Okay, Anita, and then back to Donna.
Yeah, this is with regards to the financial impact at the end of your report. So the township portion is being funded through OCF, and the township will build a county. So what is the county share? Is it like 50-50 or 20-40 or 60-40, or what's that county share versus the township share?
Yeah, to you, Mr. Chair, I think that the figure would be probably more like 70% township, 30% county. There are a number of structures that we're still going through a bit of a discussion to see whether that's actually a county structure versus a township structure, primarily at a corner of an intersection or intersections that used to be, say, connecting links through the Ministry of Transportation and are now the county, that type of thing. So that will get determined as we go through the process here and actually definitively come to some agreement, but it's about a 70-30 split.
Thank you, Donna.
Yes, through you to Lane. Do we have a lot of old sewer pipes in Lakefield, or have we replaced the majority of them? Or are there still a lot of very old ones?
To you, Mr. Chair. So just to be clear, this is actually storm sewer, right? So this could be anywhere. This isn't just Lakefield. So we have pipes in subdivisions sporadically spread throughout the township. We may have a handful of 6 or 8 catch basins with the underground pipes that then go into a stormwater management pond. So yeah, this isn't just, while it is primarily in more built up areas, it could actually be more in subdivisions as well. So they just basically feed into collector ponds as well. So, and with respect to the direct question in terms of age, part of this review will be some indication of that. We have records that we can rely on, but this will also inform us as to the type of pipe that's used. And that will help us plan for the future as well.
Okay, that's good. Thank you.
Jerry, did you want to add anything? Okay, does somebody want to make a motion? Sherry is moving and Anita is seconding. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you, colleagues. We have no consent items or petitions or portfolio reports. Is there any other new or unfinished business that anybody wants to bring up? Not seeing any. I would look for a bylaw to authorize the CCTV inspection. Somebody want to move that? Anita, seconded by Donna. All those in favor? Great. Then we need a confirming bylaw. Sherry, seconded by Donna. All those in favor? Carried. And a motion to adjourn. Jerry, seconded by Anita. All those in favor? Great. Thank you, colleagues. Appreciate your help, and we'll see you all soon. Thank you. Thank you, staff.